Hola amigos, welcome to this edition of DURKO's Notebook for the 2023 Mexican Grand Prix. Got a shit ton of stuff I want to talk about and clear up, so pull up a pew, sit back, relax and enjoy the show.
You wouldn't fucking read about it.
So with the Mexican Grand Prix again being held at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, it's located on the edge of the Mexico City itself, which is a massive city. And it's situated in probably the dodgy part of the town, out towards the airport. And of course, we were witness to all the drivers turn up with the security. But Checo, of course, had a shitload of security because there was some discussion that he was going to turn up and announce his retirement from being an F1 driver, but instead he retired from the race pretty early, as we saw, but I'll discuss that a bit later. It's a challenging circuit in terms of the long straight into turn one, and of course the altitude at nearly 2,100 metres above sea level. When you go there, you're just dilapidated for air. It is really hard to breathe walking around the circuit. So it has that of course has its own effect on the car, especially with the heating and trying to cool them as best they can. Now, free practice, I've got to say, Alex Albon, he really did a great job, and he was coming second in some of the FP sessions and showed what the Williams can do. They just turned up the perfect setup, which of course didn't result so well in quali. Now, the big talking point, of course, for quali was the way George Russell managed to turn the pit exit into a parking lot and just parked his car. Now, his claim was he was trying to get a better track position, clear the traffic so he had a better run. That's all good and well, but I just can't see how the FIA can't penalise him or other drivers like Alonso, and there was one other that did as well, but especially Russell really pushed the limit because he just sat there, and the teams were starting to whinge. The engineers were saying to the drivers, shit, the car's starting to get hot, we've got to get moving. But Russell was sat there, and there was no penalty. But his defence was, as I said, he wanted better track position, but I just think it was just a bullshit excuse. And when they penalise Sargent for overtaking under a yellow flag, the track limits, they're always given the 5 seconds out, but then they don't give a penalty in any way for George Russell blocking up the pit. It's just stupid. And I think the FIA have got to just amend the books to say if you want to sit there for track position, go to the side so you can allow the others to go past. When you think it's right to go then. But as somebody suggested, there should be a traffic light control system that teams are allocated a time to go out. Right, bang, green light, you go. Spread the team order out a bit in terms of when the drivers go out. But I think George Russell should have got a penalty for what he did. And the sooner the FIA overrule or amend that ruling, the sooner the better. It's just a joke. We'll get on to the race. Of course, Chico was clearly at fault for that turn one incident. I mean, he got a great start, admittedly. He was right up beside Leclerc and Max, but he was coming from the outside into a right-hander. And he did get in front of Leclerc, and he was totally at fault. I mean, he accepted it to some degree. He didn't admit that he was at fault, but he said he had a chance of going for the win. Now, I don't know how that would occur because Max has basically won every race this season. So, unless Max conceded and gave Chico the home win as a thank you present as the wingman that he's been ever since he got to RBR with Max, I couldn't see him winning. Not the way Max was driving. But, Max, obviously Checo was at fault. We got to the rest of the race wasn't that interesting until half-time when K-Mag, his rear brakes overheated and caused a suspension failure, so that caused a red flag. Then the second half became alive because there was a whole new tyre strategy thrown at us with the hards and the mediums. It just made the race so much more exciting to watch. Actually, you had some racing going on. And that included, Lewis Hamilton's overtake of Leclerc. Now, he went down the dirty side. I mean, the whole track's dirty, but there is the racing line, which is clean. The rest of it's just covered in shit. So Lewis has gone to the dirty side on the right-hand side of Leclerc, and there would have been a bee's dick in it of him just spinning off in the grass, but somehow Lewis held onto it and got past Leclerc to get in front of him. It was an amazing overtake and just shows you what his experience has got, and he had the balls to pull the move off. Norris also had a great overtake around Ricciardo. He went around the outside of him. Now, Norris, I don't know where he found the power in that McLaren because he was just driving the skin off it. Admittedly, Piastri had an issue with newspaper or pieces of paper stuck to the under the floor of his car, which totally screwed up his aero, and he was a lot slower than Norris. We move on to, of course, double DNF for Aston Martin Racing. Obviously, Nando went out with a mechanical issue, and then Stroll took himself out trying to cut across the front of Bottas. Some people say Bottas was at fault. I can't see how, because Lance has just cut straight across the front of him. Now, the decision's going to be, is Lawrence Stroll going to sell the team, or what's he going to do? They've just gone to dismal results now. And, yeah, the rumour is he's going to sell the team. We'll just have to wait and see what he does, because I don't think Alonso wants to be there anymore. Now we move on to Mercedes and their W14. Now, John Owen is the chief designer, and the rumour I've heard is that he's going to redesign it for the Brazil round, and he's going to apply a complaints box to the rear wing of George Russell's car so that he can start lodging all his complaints, because he just pissed and whinged and moaned all weekend about every topic you could think of. And, of course, George is never at fault. So that's it for this edition of DURKO's Notebook. I'll be back next week with the Brazil round. Until then, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.